Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my favorite brushes and kind of just giving you guys a little info on each individual brush. So I have this that stays on my desk, and these are all of my brushes that I use on a regular basis. Alternate between like when one is dirty, like I have duplicates of stuff that I'll use it for. Not the same brush necessarily, but just like duplicates for the same stuff, like probably like 3 blending brushes for the eye, you know, stuff like that. Really, to be honest, the only reason why I'm showing you guys this is because I think it is so cute. I got it from Marshall's, I believe. Pretty sure it was Marshall's, and I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. It's too cute, and it's like mirrors on the side, both sides, and then the very back is a mirror. Not that that even matters, because when am I using this? I guess you could use it to put on makeup. I love this so much. I really didn't even have to show y'all this. I could have just jumped into the brushes, but it's cute. Wanted to show it off, so now let's get into the video. So I thought it would be cool to kind of just go in the steps in which I do my makeup. So I'm going to start with foundation. So my favorite foundation brushes, just as a disclaimer, they're made by the same brand, so honestly I don't like one more than the other. They really all are just really nice brushes. There may be some instances where I would prefer to use one brush over the other, and I keep them in the little container that I showed you guys because I mean foundation is something that, depending on the formula of the foundation, it can dry the bristles of the brush and just make them stiffer. So I want to alternate if I don't feel like cleaning the brush, you know. I mean, it's easier with powders because powders you can just dust off, but foundation you really can't. You literally have to wash them in order to get them back to square one. So I have 5 foundation brushes that I alternate between. Again, you don't need 5. It's only just because I have them, so I always keep them here so I don't have to clean my brushes as often. But they literally all are made with the same brush hairs, so you kind of get the same result with each brush except the F80 Air is the only one that's different, slightly different. With these 4, you will get the same result in a slightly different one with F80 Air. So the first one is F80 Air, and I really like this brush. When they came out with it, I knew I was gonna really like it because I like dual fiber brushes to use when I want a lighter coverage of my foundation, and I want to focus more so on getting the skin look as opposed to a full coverage foundation look. If I'm using a light or medium coverage foundation, I like to use the Sigma F80 Air, which I'll use any of these 5, but I like to go for the F80 Air if it's not dirty. So this is one of my favorites. I love it. I mean, all Sigma brushes are bomb. Most of my favorite brushes are from Sigma. Just another disclaimer before we get any farther in the video, a lot of them are Sigma. But yes, so I really love this one. That's the first one. The second one is like the OG foundation brush from Sigma. If you ever heard of Sigma, I'm sure it was probably this brush that you heard of from Sigma, and it is the F80 flat Kabuki brush. And this one has a special place in my heart because this is one of the brushes that I wanted so bad, but I knew that I didn't wear foundation. I just wanted it because everyone had it. This was back when I wasn't wearing foundation, and on top of that, it has my name engraved in it. To have a relationship with them is just awesome, and for them to have sent me this was just an amazing thing. So I really keep this brush up here. I use it, of course, but I keep it up here mostly because like it's just like a little smile that comes when I see it, and I love it. Also, the brush is phenomenal as well. Everything people say about the brush is awesome. It blends really nice. It gives a flawless finish. I always say that makeup is an art. So much like a traditional artist that paints or draws, the tools that they use are very important, and I feel the same exact way when it comes to makeup. Makeup brushes do make a difference. You wouldn't be able to get the complete look with just your hands. So anyway, that's just my little spiel on brushes. But the next one is the Sigma F82, and it is the round Kabuki brush. I really like this brush because it's actually really small. In the grand scheme of things, it's really just very similar to the other brushes, but it's small in a sense that I really feel like I have a lot of control with this brush because I can just buff on every little inch of my skin. That's what I feel like. So I like this brush for that, but it blends, like I said, like the other ones flawlessly. So this is a really good one you can pick up. The next one I use the most, probably because, well, these next 2 actually I use the most because I really like the shape of these. So the first one is the F88, and it is an angled foundation brush, and I really just like the way it sits on the skin. It blends in the foundation so easily. Like, look how I'm looking. But it really blends in and goes with the curve of your face, as opposed to, like, let's say for example, me using the F80 is kind of this way, straight on to get all of the bristles on your skin. And here you literally just have to go like kind of in the ergonomics, is that the word? I don't know, in the way in which your hand kind of goes. So it's really easy to use. And then the last brush I've been using a lot lately, you guys probably have noticed, it is the Sigma 3D HD Kabuki brush. So the reason why I really like this one is because I'm able to blend kind of down in the same, like, I don't even know if I'm saying the right word, ergonomics. I'm saying that word again. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I like the way that it blends and sits on the skin, and you can use both sides of the brush. I also like that because it has like this, I don't know how you can see it. You can see it this way. Because it kind of goes up in both directions, I can sit that literally next to my nose and really just blend in the foundation and all of these crevice areas of my face. So I really like this for that. That's all of the foundation brushes. Just wanted to make sure that I told you guys all of the brushes that I would use, but all of those are good. You're good if you want to check out any one of those. So now we're moving on to concealer, and I literally have one brush that I love for this. I mean, you guys probably know this as well, and that is the Soft Blend Concealer Brush, the F64. I love this brush so much. Literally, if I had to give up all my brushes, this I would have a problem with, because this is like ride or die. Love this brush. It blends in my concealer so flawlessly. Like it looks airbrushed. Like when I used to blend my concealers with a sponge, it never really came out like it comes out with this brush. I don't know what is up with this brush. It's like the perfect density, the perfect everything. I mean, I just love everything about this brush. I have multiples of this brush because I love it so much. This is definitely one I say you guys need to really check out. I know a few of you have, and I hope you guys love it because I love it so much. For setting powder, I don't really set my entire face, so I don't use like a huge powder foundation brush when I go in to set my face. I typically only just set the places that I apply concealer, which honestly, that's just an easy way for me to say it. I set it everywhere that I get oily basically, and also my concealer spots. So there are some days where I will apply concealer underneath my eyes only, but I will still use setting powder to set my T-zone, like my chin, nose, and forehead, because I know those places will get oily. So it's really like regardless, I need to set my T-zone because it will get oily. And the brush I like to use for that is actually a tapered highlighter brush. So I believe you're supposed to use this to apply highlight, but I like to use it for setting powder. It's the F35 brush. So it really just sits perfectly underneath the eye, down the bridge of the nose, on the chin. I mean, it's just the perfect size. This is what I like to use when setting my face. So for bronzer, I kind of try out a lot of different brushes for bronzer, but I'm just going to tell you guys the two that I always come back to. The first one is the Sigma F10 brush. Now this is a powder slash blush brush, so it doesn't really say like bronzer, but I use it for bronzer, and I really just like how it sits here. Right now I am trying out another brush to see if I like it, if I want to add it to my favorites. But yeah, so this is what I normally will use and always come back to, as well as the NYX number 6 brush. I'm pretty off and on with this brush. I don't use this one as often. Like I don't come back to this one as often. I really just love this one the most, but I thought I would still mention it because I do come back to it. I just really like the shape of it. It fits exactly where I want it to go and just goes everywhere. You know, it's just like, it's really nice. It's a really nice brush, and it cuts the cheek as well, so you can kind of contour with your bronzer with this brush. So that's really cool. And you can also substitute this brush for your contour brush, like if you like to use contour. I'm more of a bronzer girl, but yeah, I would definitely use this for contour when I do contour, because every now and then I contour, and I would like to use a brush like this to do that. For highlight, there's one brush, and that is the Sigma F03 brush. And this, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna just be honest with y'all, it's nothing really special about this brush. I like that it's really small, but it's very dupeable. Like you can get a dupe brush for what you use for highlights. I wouldn't say that this one is like a need, like you don't need this highlighter brush, but this is the one that I use. If you don't have a highlighter brush, you can definitely check out this one. But again, it's just, you know, just applying highlight. There are a lot of different highlighting brushes that you can use. So for blush, I actually use a small contour contour brush from Sigma. It's the F05 brush, and I don't know, I mean, it's just like, you know, the apples of your cheek are little circles, so it just fits right there. But the other brush that I've actually been using lately is the new brush from Causemetics, their blush brush, and I really like this one because it's very fluffy, and I feel like it not only applies the blush, but it blends it really easily too. Like this one, I kind of have to spend time blending in my blush because it's not a blush brush. That's why I just like the size of it. That's why I've used it like that. This one, it just pats on the blush, and then you can go in and kind of just blend it in it's like a huge blending brush basically. And yeah, it's really nice, and I've told you guys this before, I really like the concept behind this brand. Okay, so foundation, concealer, powder, bronzer, blush, highlights, brows. So I typically will use brow pencils, so I never really use a brush, so I don't have a favorite brush if you use like a brow powder or brow pomade, so I don't have a brush for that. However, the brush that I use to clean up underneath my brows is very important to me. I used to use an angled brush, but I found the perfect brush ever. If you watched my recent brow tutorial, you already know about this brush, but it is the Lash fan brush. It is so tiny and so cute, and it literally just fits in the curve of your brow. Like, look, boom, that is bomb. You just go in, you do like that. And I like how this is what I use, like the tip of the brush, and then I use kind of this area of the brush to blend the concealer down. Meaning I'll go in and just kind of curve the concealer that's at the tip of the brush, and then I'll drag it down using the other part of the brush to blend it. It's like, this bomb. So after brows, I like to go in with eyeshadow. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll prime my eyes most of the time. And once I apply the primer, I like to blend it in with the Sigma concealer brush. And the only reason why I felt like that it would work for me in my situation, because the eyeshadow base that I use is very kind of like dry. It's not like a creamy formula. It's a very dry, creamy formula. So because of that, this brush actually works really well for blending it in. But if you use more of a creamier eyeshadow base, I definitely wouldn't recommend this. I forgot a brush. So when I was talking about the Lash fan brush, when I was saying that I go in and I carve out the brow and I use it to kind of blend it down, well, right after that, I go in with my favorite brush for this step, which is to blend the concealer underneath, and that is the Dose of Colors shader brush. It gives like an airbrush blend. So the next step after I apply my eyeshadow base is my transition color, which is the first eyeshadow that I like to use in the crease. And so my favorite brushes typically all kind of look the same as far as the type of hairs that are in the brush. So the first one, which is my first favorite, is the MAC 224 brush. This is one of those brushes that you need if you don't have, and if you have it, you know you need it kind of thing. I love it to blend in my transition color. It just gives like the airbrush finish. I think it's synthetic hairs, but it gives the look of natural hairs. I'm not quite sure though. Natural hair is kind of more fluffy, which is what this is, but I believe it's synthetic. I'm not sure, but I really like the way that it blends in my transition color. This one is my next favorite, which actually I've only been using this brush for a few days, and it's probably gonna skip the MAC brush and be in the front, and is the Revlon blending brush. The only thing about this Revlon Pro collection that I just got in the mail is these brushes are expensive for it to be Revlon. Like high-end money for their brushes, but they're actually really good, and I love this one. You kind of can see how the MAC and the Revlon brush kind of have the same look as far as the fluffiness of the brush. The difference is the MAC one compared to the Revlon one, and I didn't even notice until I got the Revlon, that it's kind of itchy. Like when you're blending it in, it kind of is itchy compared to the Revlon one. This one is so soft and so fluffy that it blends in the transition color flawlessly, the same way as the MAC 224. And then the third one is the Dose of Colors blending brush, and I love this one. It kind of is more packed together than the other brushes that I just showed you guys. This one is like the last one I will pick for, but it's really, really good. I more so choose this one for my outer corner, but it does work extremely well for my transition color. So speaking of outer corner color, that is the next group of brushes. The first one is the Sigma Diffused Crease. It's the E38. It's a really small version of their E40 brush, and I really like to use it to deposit as well as blend out darker colors in the outer corner. One that's very, very similar to it and probably cheaper, if I had to guess, is the Real Techniques Essential Crease brush. I would not call this a crease brush because I like to use bigger brushes for the crease, but it is a really good brush to kind of apply color to the outer corner the same way, and then you can kind of fade it into the inner corner. But it will give you, if you do that, it will give you more of like a cut crease effect because the brush is so small. This one actually I like more than the Sigma one, but both of them are really good. The first one was my favorite for a long time. It's still a favorite. Cut the crease with all of these brushes, but this one is like the best because it's the flattest, and that is the MAC 242 brush. This brush applies the shimmers to the lid almost as if you're using your finger. Sometimes when you use a brush, it's not as shimmery, and then you pick it up with your finger and it shows off all the shimmer. That's what you kind of get with the MAC 242. The next one is like a very close second to the MAC 242, and that is the Sigma E58 brush. It's a cream color brush, and because it is a cream shadow brush, I'm sure that's why it applies shimmer shades really well, because it just glides them on with the most pigment. Now, I kind of feel bad for talking about this brush because you really have to buy the whole set in order to get it, but I wanted to mention it just in case, like some chance that you guys have this brush set and you could just use that brush. Maybe you never used it, I don't know. It is this brush, and it doesn't have a number or a name or anything, but it came in the Vanity Planet brush set. Perfect brush for cut crease. So when I want to use concealer, like when I'm for real, like I want to map out how my eyeshadow is gonna look, that's when I use this brush. Go in and apply my concealer to the lid. I use this more so when I want to do a swoop at the end, you know, like a traditional half cut crease would be just like what I did today, but like a full swoop cut crease, that'll be what I use this for. I love that it's super dense and it's small, and it really just helps to carve out the area. If you happen to have the brush set, this is a really good brush for that. So now we're moving on to the lower lash line when I want to apply shadows down there. So I have two brushes that I will use when it comes to getting really close to the lash line, and that'll be the Mercier smudge brush or the Sigma smudge brush at E21. Both of them are smudge brushes, so they're really small, like extremely small. As you can see, the hairs up there, it really just gets super close. I actually used the Sigma one today, and it gets like super close to the lash line, and you're able to blend and just place shadows where you want it. The next two brushes, the first one is the Sigma short shader brush. It's the E20. I use this one actually the most. It's like a flat brush, and it just sits really well right underneath, and I kind of just can swoop really fast all the way underneath because it's the perfect size. So I just go choop 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 choop, and then I'm done. So that one's really good for that. And then the last one is the medium angled shading brush, the E70. This is like for my lazy days or like my quick makeup days when I want to just smoke out the lash line with a just like a transition type eyeshadow color, so like a darker brown shade. Then I'll just run it really quick underneath because it is like just an angled blending brush, so it works really well for that. For inner corner highlight, I only have one brush that I use, and that is the pencil brush, the E30 from Sigma. Now this one is blue because it was from their bunny collection. I'm pretty sure it was limited edition, but you can get the E30 in the regular Sigma brushes. But I am gonna confess to you guys, that brush is not as good as the bunny collection because that one is more like itchy almost when you apply it to your inner corner, and this one is so soft, and I'm sure it's because it was the bunny collection. So I probably would recommend something else if I was able to recommend something else, but I don't really have nothing else to recommend. So just a pencil brush that you guys like to use would work really well when it comes to the inner corner or like the brow bone. I'll use this for the inner corner and the brow bone. Maybe they'll bring it back and you guys could check it out because it's really soft and it works really well. All right, it is almost midnight and I am tired and I want to be quiet. I've been talking a lot. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this helped you guys because this was a highly requested video for me to show you guys my favorite brushes. Let me know if you guys decide to check out any of the brushes. I would love to know that. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel as well as check out my previous video. I showed you guys how I keep my Twist Outs moisturized for a week plus depending, so make sure you check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I promise I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.